Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Secretary.
It's good to see you.
It's great to see you.
Thank you.
And, this has been a good discussion today, a lot of different topics. And I guess something that I wanted to ask deals with your GGO line. And many of the line items in your budget are transfers, but the GGO is actually the operations line. It's a line that's been proposed to be increased by 7.6%. I think it would be helpful if you would give us some detail on exactly how you propose to spend that additional revenue.
Yeah, thank you, and appreciate the importance of it. That is where the majority of what we do in the department is funded from, critical. The 7.6% equates to about $2.2 million. 1.2 million of that approximately is cost to carry of existing staff and associated costs. 495,000 is for IT investments in the continuation of our the hardware purchase and conversion. I note in the testimony, and the other 200 and some thousand, 290 I think it is for to the question about Food Safety Modernization Act. There is some equipment that we need in the food safety lab. So those 3 points make up the 2.2 million.
And under previous questioning, someone had mentioned that you have a proposal to increase the dog license fee and how much revenue that would generate. Has any of that prospective revenue been factored into this year's fiscal year, or are you looking at that as a revenue source in future fiscal years? Yeah,
it's a great question. So important that prospectively we've anticipated the fee increase for dog law operations in fiscal year 17-18.
How much have you anticipated?
Roughly a little more than $1 million from 6.3 this fiscal year, anticipated to more than 7.1 million.
And what would you propose to raise the dog license fee to?
We would propose, well, there are different levels of dog licenses, whether the dog has been altered or a lifetime license. We're looking at a rate that is commensurate with inflation since the last increase back in 1996. Since that time, inflation adjustments about 50%. We're looking at increasing, for instance, the altered dog one-year license from $650 to about $10.
Okay, moving on to another question with limited time. One of the line items that is concerning to folks in the northern tier is the hardwood research and promotion line that deals with the forest products industry. And obviously forest products is a major economic generator in the Commonwealth, and oftentimes folks don't think of that as agriculture, but it certainly is. And last year, the governor convened a green ribbon task force on forest products, conservation, and jobs. And the #1 recommendation under the economic development section is to increase the line item for the Hardwood Development Council. Yeah. And this was a commission that was handpicked by the governor, all his appointees. This is the #1 recommendation. And then to see the line eliminated again is a little bit concerning. Does the governor not value the work of his task force that he put together?
Well, first of all, thanks for the question on hardwoods. And as I've described, the hardwoods industry, to the northwest is sort of what dairy industry is to Lancaster County, right? It is the industry up there and drives so many conversations. So a couple of things. The governor supports the hardwoods industry. No question, the Green Ribbon Commission identified both, and this has been talked about for years, increasing the line, dedicated funding to $1 million there. We are, to note, in our budget on the GGO specifically, and we put have two positions on the GGO that support the director and one additional staff within the council out of GGO, so that it's decoupled from the line item. But our hope would be that we can continue to work with DCNR and DEP and other agencies on how to support and fund the council's work.
Well, I think that the councils do a great job, and with a limited amount of revenue, it's $385,000, but it's an area that I think we need to go back and take another look at in this particular proposal. And with limited time, the other question, the other comment that I wanted to bring up is certainly the environmental side. And we talk a lot about Chesapeake Bay, and it's concerning that people automatically look at agriculture when they're looking at environmental situations. And, I don't think, and we've talked about this many times, I don't think farmers get the credit for all the good work that they do and the good stewardship. And I'm encouraged to see that I think there's a trend turning to where we are giving farmers more credit, but I think we need to do more in that. So, I want to thank Penn State for all the work that they've done and your department in that area. And my question is, there are proposals out there dealing with commercial fertilizer and others. And the first question I always ask folks is, if we do this, are we going to get credit for it? So with a new administration in Washington, a new EPA, I know that you have extensive discussions with EPA along with the DEP secretary. Through those dialogues, are you seeing any change in attitude, any willingness to work with us? I'd be interested in your thoughts.
Yeah, so again, a very timely question. The short answer is yes, fully agree that we need to give credit. The smartest thing we did was to have Penn State University do the survey, but most importantly, go out and actually do the on-site sort of verification at 10%. What that did was it removed the question of whether it was the Department of Agriculture or Department of Environmental Protection or the government doing the quantification. It was an independent entity and a trusted entity. That changed opinion, and I think the discussion since that time around what is in the model that we've spent a lot of time, too much time probably talking about, in what's included, a very different opinion now of what can be included. So all of the non-cost share stuff, with the exception of one piece that's still in a negotiation, has been agreed to be included in the model. I think that's a great story.
Well, we all want to clean up the Chesapeake Bay, but we need to make sure that we're getting credit for the things that we're doing. So I think that's a big concern, and I look forward to working with you to make sure we can continue to fight for that credit for Pennsylvania farmers. So thank you for all you do.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.